Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will study the structure of the gastric glands and the structure and function of the cells lining the gastric glands. So the parts of stomach again, as we know that grossly the stomach is divided into four parts: the cardia, which is continuous with the esophagus; the fundus, which is the dome-shaped part above the cardia; and then the body. And then the last part is the pylorus, which is continuous with the small intestine. So grossly we divide the stomach into four parts, but histologically the features of fundus and body are the same. So we divide histologically the stomach into three parts: the cardia region, the fundus plus body region, and then the pyloric region. So layers of the walls of stomach, a quick review. It consists of mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa and serosa. Now in mucosa lies the epithelium, lamina propria and muscularis mucosae. And then the submucosa, muscularis externa, also consists of three layers, that is the inner oblique, middle circular and outer longitudinal, and serosa, as I have told you in the previous video, it consists of connective tissue and the lining epithelium. Now the mucosa is the region where the gastric glands lie in the lamina propria of the gastric glands. In the lamina propria of the mucosa of the stomach lies the gastric glands. Here you can see the lamina propria is full of the gastric glands. Now the mucosa of the stomach. So features of mucosa. Now changing abruptly at the esophageogastric junction, the mucosal surface of the stomach is lined by simple columnar epithelium. So the esophagus was lined by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, while where the stomach starts, the epithelium changes abruptly and then it is lined by the simple columnar epithelium that invaginates deeply into the lamina propria. So you can see here, this is the simple columnar epithelium lining and it is deeply invaginating inside the lamina propria. These invaginations form millions of gastric pits, each with an opening to stomach lumen. So these pits are opening up into the lumen of the stomach. The surface mucous cells that line the lumen and gastric pits secrete a thick, adherent, highly viscous mucus layer that is rich in bicarbonate ions and protects the mucosa from both abrasive effects of intraluminal fold and the corrosive effect of stomach acid. So on the surface and in the gastric pits, the cells lining are known as surface mucous cells. So these are known as surface mucous cells. And as I have told you, these cells secrete thick, adherent, highly viscous mucus, which is rich in bicarbonate ions. And this mucus, it protects from the luminal food as well as the corrosive effect of the acid, which is produced by the gastric glands, which are lying in the lamina propria. The gastric pits, now the gastric pits, they lead into long branched tubular glands that extend through the full thickness of the lamina propria. Here you can see the pits are leading, opening into the pits are the gastric glands. So these are the gastric glands which are extending to the whole length of the lamina propria, whole thickness of the full thickness of the lamina propria. So you can see here, and third layer is the muscularis mucosae, which consists of the smooth muscles, 2 or 3 layers of smooth muscles. So First is the epithelium. Mucosa consists of epithelium, which is the simple columnar epithelium. Secondly, lamina propria. Which contains connective tissue, blood vessels, nerves, lymphatics, and most important, the gastric glands. And third layer of the mucosa is the muscularis mucosae. So the lamina propria of the gastric mucosa contains a large number of glands that open up into gastric pits. On the basis of distribution and difference in structure, these glands are classified into following three varieties. The gastric glands, which are found in the fundus and the body of the stomach, the cardial glands, which lie in the narrow region around the inlet of the stomach, and the pyloric glands, which are located in the pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal. Now, the gastric glands, also called the fundic glands, make the greatest contribution to the gastric juice and are responsible for production of acid and most of the enzymes secreted by the stomach. The gastric glands are of simple branched tubular variety, and each them is divided into three regions: the isthmus, the neck, and the base. The isthmus is the upper short segment of the gland that opens into the gastric pit. So here you can see this is the gastric pit, and this is the isthmus part which is opening up into the gastric pit. The neck is the narrower, relatively long middle part of the gland. So this is the isthmus and this part is the neck. This part is the neck. The base is the terminal, shorter and wider part of the gland which may be branched. So you can see here that the base is branching here. So this is the terminal part and it is branching here. Epithelium lining the gastric glands contains 5 types of cells: the mucous neck cells, the parietal cells, the chief cells, enteroendocrine cells, and the stem cells. So 5 types of cells are present: mucous neck cells, parietal cells, chief cells, enteroendocrine cells, and stem cells. So here you can see the distribution of the cells in the gastric gland. Here you can see that in the isthmus mostly the mucous cells and the stem cells are present, while in the neck you can see the parietal cells and the mucous cells, mucous neck cells, and in the basal part mainly the chief cells and the enteroendocrine cells and some of the parietal cells. These are the enteroendocrine cells and these are the chief cells, while these are the parietal cell, these ones. So the mucous neck cells, as indicated by their name, the mucous neck cells are located in the neck region of the gastric glands and interspread among the parietal cells. They are generally columnar or pyramidal in shape, you can see here, and they are generally with oval basal nuclei. You can see the oval basal nuclei and pyramidal or columnar shape. The long axis of their nucleus is usually perpendicular to the long axis of the cell. The apical regions of these cells contain mucin granules. Now these mucous neck cells produce a subtle amount of mucus that mixes with chyme and function to lubricate the gastric contents. So you can see here, this is the histological section on H&E stain, and these are the mucous neck cells. You can see that they are filled with mucus, the secretory vesicles of mucus. Here you can see the basal spherical nucleus with the apical portion filled up with the mucus acini, mucus vesicles. Now the parietal cells, they secrete hydrochloric acid and are also known as oxyntic parietal cells or oxyntic cells. Oxyntic cells. Now these cells are mainly present in the isthmus and neck portions of the gastric glands, where they are found to be dispersed among the mucous neck cells. But a few parietal cells are also seen to be located in the basal parts of these cells. You can see here they are mostly concentrated in the isthmus and neck region, while some are present in the basal parts also. The parietal cells are large, round, to pyramidal cells located in the most peripheral part of the gland, and therefore they appear to bulge in the surrounding lamina propria. So you can see here they appear to bulge in the surrounding lamina propria. Their peripheral location close to the outer wall of the gland is the basis upon which these cells have been named parietal cells. In Latin, parietus means wall. Now here you can see they are pyramidal shaped cells, and each parietal cell, it contains a centrally located rounded nucleus, a large Golgi apparatus. You can see here this is the Golgi apparatus, and some profiles of rough endoplasmic reticulum and a great number of mitochondria. So these are the mitochondria. So due to presence of abundant mitochondria, the cytoplasm appears intensely eosinophilic in stained sections examined under light microscope. As I have shown you before, the presence of plentiful mitochondria in the cytoplasm of the parietal cells correlates with the high level of energy needed by these cells to form the acid. Now, electron microscopic studies reveal that a special feature of the parietal cell is the presence of intracellular canaliculus. You can see intracellular canaliculus, which communicates with the lumen of the gastric gland. This canaliculus is actually a deep invagination of the luminal plasma lemma of parietal cells into the interior of the cell, and is meant to increase the surface area available for the HCl secretion. The plasma lemma of intracellular canaliculus contains numerous hydrogen-potassium ATPase pumps, called as proton pumps, which pump hydrogen ions into the cytoplasm of the parietal cells, from the cytoplasm of the parietal cells into the lumen of the intracellular canaliculi. Now here are the two cells, one shown in the active state and one shown in the resting state. In resting state, the parietal cells, the intracellular canaliculi is generally shallow and partially encircles the nucleus. So you can see here they are shallow canaliculi, and but in the actively secreting oxyntic cells, these canaliculi are very deep and extend almost to the base of the cell. Here you can see they are extending almost to the base of the cell, and they are very prominent here in the active cell. Numerous microvilli project from the plasma lemma into the cavity of the intracellular canaliculus. These microvilli further increase the surface area available for the secretion. Now, electron microscopic picture of the parietal cells shows that there are membrane bound tubules and vesicles present in the parietal cells. In an inactive parietal cell, the number of these tubulovesicular structure is very high. However, when the parietal cells are stimulated to produce HCl, the cytoplasmic tubules and vesicles of these cells fuse with the plasma lemma of the cell, which result in deepening of the intracellular canaliculi. Now, these are the tubules. You can see here tubulovesicular structures. When their concentration is more in the resting cell, but when the cell becomes active, these tubulovesicular structures, they combine with the fuse with the plasma lemma of the cell, which results in deepening of the intracellular canaliculus and an increase in number of microvilli projecting into the intracellular canaliculi. Therefore, the number of tubules and vesicles is very low in the cytoplasm of an active cell. So these cells secrete, so secretion of HCl by the parietal cell is stimulated by a hormone known as gastrin, and this gastrin is released by the enteroendocrine cells present in the pyloric glands. In addition to the HCl, the parietal cells also secrete a glycoprotein called the intrinsic factor, which binds with vitamin B12 in the stomach and facilitates the absorption of this vitamin in the small intestine. So chief cells secrete proteolytic enzyme, that is the pepsin. These cells also called zymogenic cells, and they are located in the basal parts of the gastric glands. They are columnar or pyramidal cells, each having a spherical nucleus that lie towards the base of the cell. The chief cell exhibit the characteristic features of the protein secreting cells. Now here you can see these are the chief cells. You can see here these are the chief cells. They have the features of protein secreting cells. The basal region of the chief cell contain abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum, due to which this region of the cell takes a basophilic stain. A well-developed Golgi apparatus is present in the supranuclear portion. The apical region contains secretory granules that house the proenzyme pepsinogen. These granules impart acidophilia to the apical regions of the cells. So you can see here the nuclei, they are present in the basal region of the cell. This is the cell, this is the basal region, and you can see the eosinophilia in the apical regions here. After its release into the lumen of the stomach, the pepsinogen is converted by the HCl of the gastric juice into pepsin, which is highly active proteolytic enzyme. The chief cell also secretes gastric lipase, which takes part in breakdown of many lipids in the stomach. So in this slide, the differences in the chief cell and the parietal cells are shown, and these are very obvious. You can see here that the chief cell is the enzyme secreting cell, protein secreting cell, while the parietal cell is the acid secreting cell. That is the cell which is related with the function of ion transportation. So in the chief cell, you can appreciate the nucleus is basal, towards the basal side, abundant rough endoplasmic reticulum you can see, and the apical granules, zymogen granules, which contain the pepsinogen enzyme. And the parietal cells, you can see here the spherical central nucleus and abundant mitochondria and the intracellular canaliculi. These are the main features of the two cells. You can differentiate them. So enteroendocrine cells, these are small cells located in the neck and bases of the gastric glands. Now they rest on the basal lamina, but they usually do not reach the lumen of the gland. Now these cells belong to the diffuse neuroendocrine system. Now electron microscope, it shows that cytoplasm of these cells contain membrane-bound secretory granules. The secretory granules of the enteroendocrine cells are released into the blood capillaries and the lymph capillaries present in the lamina propria surrounding the gland. Now most of the enteroendocrine cells of the gastric glands, they are of enterochromaffin cells type, and their function is to secrete serotonin, which enhances the gastric motility and promotes gastric emptying. Last but not the least, the stem cells. So Stem cells, they are columnar cells found in the neck region of the gastric glands, and each stem cell has a basally located nucleus, but cell organelles are unremarkable except for some ribosomes. The stem cells are undifferentiated cells that divide continuously to produce daughter cells, and which differentiate into different types of specialized cells lining the gastric glands, gastric pits, and luminal surface of the stomach. In this way, a constant turnover of the cells of gastric mucosa is ensured. I hope you have understood the cells and the structure of the gastric glands. Now this is all for this lecture. The differences in the various glands of the stomach and in the various regions of the stomach, I will discuss them in the next coming video. Thank you so much.